We all remember the toys that defined our childhoods. But if you look closely at the Toy Story universe, the real magic isn't in the playthings we loved. It's in the nightmares that threatened to destroy them. Over 5 films, Pixar didn't just build obstacles for Woody and Buzz, they crafted complex, chilling reflections of our deepest human anxieties. Today, we're breaking down the 8 greatest Toy Story villains ever created, tracing an evolution that goes from a simple backyard bully to a silent digital threat that is quietly erasing childhood as we know it. Sid Phillips. To understand Sid Phillips, you have to look past the skull print t-shirt. Sid wasn't a premeditated monster, he was just an 11-year-old kid with an overactive imagination and 0 parental supervision. While Andy built worlds of cardboard and kindness, Sid demolished them. Toy soldiers became targets for firecrackers, dolls were decapitated and stitched back together into mechanical monstrosities. But the most unsettling detail is often overlooked. Sid had absolutely no idea these toys could feel. To him, they were inanimate plastic. To them, he was a giant, unpredictable god of destruction. Stepping into Sid's bedroom feels like entering a survival horror game. Broken doll heads crawl on metal spider legs. Mismatched limbs twitch in the shadows. When Woody and Buzz get trapped in this dark asylum, survival becomes their only objective. The tension peaks when Buzz is strapped to a rocket, forcing Woody to make a desperate choice. He breaks the ultimate rule of toy existence, bringing the mutant creations to life to confront their tormentor. Woody's chilling warning breaks Sid's mind. The bully doesn't fight, he simply flees in absolute terror. Years later, we see Sid working as a garbage man, suggesting the psychological scars of that afternoon never truly healed. But as terrifying as Sid was, he was just a kid playing in his room. The next threat knew exactly what he was doing. Al McGuigan. Al McGuigan doesn't smash toys. He does something far colder. He locks them away. The sweat-glistening, chicken suit-wearing owner of Al's Toy Barn presents himself as a goofy, pathetic businessman, but beneath the clumsy exterior hides a deeply selfish opportunist. The second Al spots Woody and realizes he's a rare collectible from the legendary Woody's Roundup. He doesn't negotiate, he steals him. To Al, a toy isn't a vessel for childhood memories, it's a stock option. His goal is to complete the set and sell it to a Japanese museum for a massive payout. In Al's high-rise apartment, toys aren't played with. They are sealed behind thick plastic, protected from fingerprints, dust, and the ultimate threat, children. This is where Al and Andy stand in stark contrast. Andy sees a friend, Al sees a dollar sign. Al lives a life surrounded by the artifacts of youth, yet he is utterly devoid of its joy. He represents a very adult kind of greed, treating emotional treasures as mere commodities. But while Al kicked off the search for Woody, he was never the real mastermind of the penthouse. Stinky Pete. Stinky Pete is soft-spoken, grandfatherly, and seemingly wise. Deep within a vintage display box sat a toy who didn't need to yell to be terrifying. When Woody first arrives, Pete acts as a comforting mentor, explaining the harsh realities of a toy's life. He talks about the inevitable heartbreak of children growing up and discarding their playthings. It feels like profound wisdom until you realize it's a trap. Unlike Woody, Pete was never chosen. He spent decades sitting on store shelves, watching every other toy find a home while he collected dust in his original cardboard prison. That isolation curdled into deep resentment. Pete convinced himself of a tragic lie, that being preserved behind glass forever is better than being loved and eventually discarded. The moment Woody decides to return to Andy, the mask slips. Pete becomes ruthless, sabotaging escapes and tearing into Woody's shoulder with calculated malice. He isn't fighting for wealth, he's fighting against his own insignificance. He chose emotional safety over the vulnerability of being played with. In the end, his punishment is poetically brutal, stuffed into the backpack of a little girl who loves to paint her toys. The destiny he feared most became his permanent reality, but while Pete allowed loneliness to rot his soul, the next villain on our list was never truly evil at all. Emperor Zurg. Emperor Zurg exists for one reason, to be Buzz Lightyear's ultimate rival. As the sworn enemy of Star Command, Zurg is equipped with a massive ion blaster and an imposing cape designed to be the ultimate threat to our Space Ranger. But when Zurg finally confronts Buzz on top of an elevator shaft, Pixar turns a sci-fi cliché into one of the franchise's greatest gags, with a dramatic "no, Buzz, I am your father. The terrifying warlord is instantly humanized. Zurg is just a toy executing his programmed backstory. He isn't malicious, he's simply a dedicated actor playing his part. Without him, Buzz wouldn't have a destiny to chase. Once the game ends, the rivalry evaporates, and Zurg is happily playing catch with his Space Ranger son. It's a brilliant reminder of the innocent, imaginative play that defines childhood. But as we move into the third film, that innocence is completely shattered by the darkest villain Pixar has ever conceived. Lotsa Bear. Lotsa Bear is a masterclass in psychological villainy. When Woody and the gang first arrive at Sunnyside Daycare, Lotso appears to be a dream come true, a plush pink bear who smells like strawberries and promises a life free from the threat of being outgrown. But Sunnyside is no sanctuary. It is a highly organized prison, and Lotso is its warden. He operates like a classic mob boss, segregating new toys to the caterpillar room where hyperactive toddlers rip them apart, while his inner circle enjoys the peaceful luxury of the butterfly room. Lotso's cruelty is systematic, born from a devastating betrayal. Years ago, he belonged to a little girl named Daisy. After being accidentally left behind, Lotso trekked through rain and mud to get back to her, only to look through her window and see her holding an identical, brand new replacement. His world ended in that instant. He realized that to a child, toys are entirely disposable. Instead of healing, Lotso chose to rule through fear, forcing every toy at Sunnyside to share his cynical worldview. His defining moment comes at the climax of Toy Story 3. Inside the roaring incinerator, Woody and Buzz save Lotso's life at great personal risk. Given the chance to press the emergency stop button and save his saviors, Lotso hesitates, sneers and walks away, leaving them to burn. Sid was reckless, Al was greedy, and Pete was bitter, but Lotso understood mercy and actively chose malice. His ultimate fate, strapped to the grill of a dirty garbage truck, is a fitting end for a dictator who chose to become the trash he believed everyone else was. But even tyrants need enforcers, and Lotso's most loyal supporter was far more tragic than evil. Big Baby was the silent terror patrolling the corridors of Sunnyside, with a cracked face, a lazy, broken eye, and a towering physical presence. He didn't speak. He simply executed Lotso's orders. Yet, Big Baby's story is one of the most tragic in the franchise. He shared the exact same journey as Lotso. He was left behind by Daisy, walked the same long road home, and witnessed the same replacement. But while Lotso turned his heartbreak into rage, Big Baby turned his into blind obedience. He clung to Lotso because Lotso was his only remaining connection to the past. The illusion only shatters when Woody hands Big Baby his old baby bottle, revealing the name Daisy still written on it. That single object dismantles years of Lotso's lies. Big Baby realizes that Daisy's love was real, even if she had moved on. In a moment of pure emotional catharsis, Big Baby rebels, lifting Lotso over his head and tossing him into the dumpster. It is a powerful reminder that sometimes the scariest monsters are just broken souls waiting for the truth to set them free. Ken represents the sheer absurdity of Sunnyside. He is easily the most hilarious antagonist in the series, mostly because he is desperately trying to hide his own deep-seated insecurity. When Barbie arrives, Ken is instantly smitten, showing off his multi-story dream house and an incredibly excessive wardrobe. He is vanity personified. But Ken's villainy is grounded in a very human flaw, complicity. He isn't inherently evil. He's just a conformist who values his luxurious lifestyle and high social standing under Lotso's regime more than doing what is right. He looks the other way, while other toys suffer, choosing fashion over conscience. It takes Barbie's clever interrogation and moral challenge to force Ken to look in the mirror. When he finally stands up to Lotso, declaring that a toy is not a plaything, it's both a hilarious pun and a genuine moment of growth. Ken's defection proves that redemption doesn't require a dramatic tragedy. Sometimes it just takes the courage to stop being a follower and stand up for those who can't. Lilypad is a sleek frog-shaped children's tablet given to Bonnie and represents the franchise's newest, quietest threat. Unlike the previous villains, Lilypad doesn't fight for control, money or affection. It doesn't have an evil scheme. It doesn't hate toys. It simply functions exactly as it was programmed to, capturing and holding a child's attention. And that makes it the most terrifying threat Woody and his friends have ever faced. You can't appeal to a tablet's conscience. You can't scare it like Sid, outsmart it like Al, or redeem it like Ken. It is a cold, glowing screen designed to replace the active imagination that once brought toys to life. Lily Pad is the physical representation of a modern epidemic, where physical play is slowly being swallowed by digital algorithms. The horror of Lily Pad isn't that it wants to destroy the toys, it's that it makes them completely irrelevant. It doesn't need to lock Woody in a box or throw Buzz in the trash. It just needs Bonnie to keep her eyes glued to the screen. It is a quiet, bloodless victory that leaves our heroes fading into the background, invisible and forgotten. From a chaotic kid with a firecracker to a digital screen quietly replacing childhood, the villains of Toy Story have always been about something much larger than simple conflict. They represent the anxieties of growing up, the fear of being replaced, and the inevitable passage of time. They force us to look at our own lives and ask, what happens to the things we love when we no longer need them? Maybe that's why these characters stay with us long after the credits roll. They aren't just obstacles in a movie, they are mirrors of our own lives.